Hey, what's up, everybody? Brian Jester, Occupy Fantasy. You're about to watch a replay of our Tuesday night Twitch stream, the Million Dollar Mission Week 16 edition, where I review my previous week's 150 NFL DFS lineups from FanDuel and DraftKings. Just 2 more weeks left in this series before the NFL regular season ends. We'll see if I can finish my quest to win the $1 million top prize once again. In this particular episode, week 16, we talked about the rare occurrence where I actually won money in my GPPs despite not having a top 10 or top 20 finish. That never happens given the top heavy payouts of these types of contests. We talked about the mental aspect of DFS. We talk about this every few episodes, but we discussed the top pros ROI chart and how when you play high risk contests as often as we do, that you're going to have some valleys and some high losing dollar amounts before you get back in the green with some wins. And so we discussed that. And then also we talked about how unique stacking was for NFL contests in week 16. A lot different than most of the other slates that we play. Not stacking the same game, stacking different offenses in different games. Lots of discussion around that. So I think you'll enjoy this episode. Sit back and take some notes.
What's going on, everybody? It is Moose and Brian here from OccupyFantasy.com at OccupyFantasy on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, I'm Moose at CFB_Moose here on Twitter with Brian at Brian Jester FF on Twitter. What's going on, everybody? This is the Week 16 edition of the Million Dollar Mission, where we take Brian's 150 lineups, see what he did right, see what he did wrong, full transparency. And if you have questions about his process, how to better your process, or you just have general questions about where I'm going on vacation in a few months, go ahead and ask that. So without further ado, how's it going, Brian?
What's up, Moose? Quite the introduction. Thanks. Everything's good. NFL's winding down, and the sweet spot of NFL GPPs week 5 through 16 is over. I'm sure I'll start the new year off bleeding a little bit of money in the week 17 GPPs, but we're here for it.
I know, right? Think you would almost be nice if there was a Thursday night game. Get some nice tax deductions before the new year.
I know. Believe me, I got plenty of tax deductions in the Bills game last night. So
incredible. Yeah. So if you're here, say hello. Again, this is the $1 Million Mission where we review Brian's lineups. Also, I'm just gonna say my recommended channels to follow. We got Austin Eckler and Juju Smith-Schuster streaming tonight, along with the actual NBA. Like they're live streaming a game on there. So we might have to rate a channel if get enough viewers.
Yeah, big night for sports streams.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at how Brian did on FanDuel and DraftKings. We'll start off with DraftKings. For week 16, 43.50 in entries, 51.92 in winnings for 19% ROI. Not bad.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny, Moose, where this was the rare week when I actually didn't come close to winning a GPP. Like no real top 50 finishes, nothing nearing the top 10. A couple late sweats, with some game stacks getting up there maybe. But actually, I just crushed my player pool, my stack selection so much this week that I actually profited without a top heavy without a high finish in the top heavy payouts, both in the Millionaire Maker on DraftKings and the slant on DraftKings, and just slight losses on FanDuel. But it's rare to see those kinds of outcomes when you don't finish highly.
Yeah, exactly. Usually your things are either like minus 60%, minus 30%, or 400%.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it was interesting to see because after the 1 o'clock games, I was like, damn, I feel like I got everything right. And then the 4 o'clock games, I feel like I got most things right. And my highest exposed players were doing well. My fading of the Atlanta and Kansas City game went great. My stacks were going off. I was like, wow, I'm surprised I'm not winning a lot more money. It's just goes to show that tournaments are hard and that you still need the right combos even if you hit.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and then what's up, Ken and Helmy's father? Helmy's father says Juju is too cringy. Please don't. It makes me want to actually check him out.
Yeah, now I kind of want to see what he's about.
He couldn't be worse than us in Fortnite. I'll say that.
That is true. That is definitely true. Is that what he's playing? Is he playing Fortnite?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, we might have to hop in then.
I know. And if we hop over to FanDuel, how you did on FanDuel last week, 24.66 in entries, 22.01 in winnings for a minus 11% ROI.
Yeah, very rare. Again, felt like I crushed everything, just didn't have the right combos.
Yep, absolutely. And then if we take a look at how you've done year to date on both sites for your 2020 $1 million mission, 65.8K in entries, 166K in winnings for a 153% ROI.
Very nice. I gotta keep over that plus 100K mark for the final week. I doubt it's gonna happen. I guarantee I lose like 3K next week in week 17. But uh, overall, a really successful year. Didn't complete the $1 million mission. Got very close on 2 separate occasions, thanks to the Arizona Cardinals. But again, profitable season overall. We learned some things. A lot of NFL GPP strategy didn't change much from last year. Really, the only big thing we've learned is just the more introductions of 2x1 stacks with the abundance of rushing quarterbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. That, and the thing that surprised me was, generally speaking, like you should have in theory you should have a sharper field each year. Yet, like, literally popular stacks are 1% owned, half a percent owned. Like that just is absolutely baffling to me.
Well, people are still rushing to play like Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, naked or with one. They're playing more projection based than upside based.
Yeah.
Very rarely do we see those quarterbacks win GPP lineups, right? Occasionally we'll do, but it's a lot of times it's the cheaper quarterbacks that win it, or some of the newer quarterbacks that win it. But again, things always change, and we're going to monitor this, and not only for Classic but for Showdown. I have a big investigation plan just to see how the whole season went, what went wrong, what if there's any deeper trends that we haven't uncovered yet, and we'll be sure to come back stronger for 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. Pismo just sent me the charts. Let me see if I can get this up here. I'm going to try and say, Brian, is anyone in chat here or no?
Yeah, so Swagler says thoughts on Showdown being sharper. So I can talk about this while you try to get it up, Moose.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with Drewby before our podcast the other day, the premium podcast, Colin Drew from Daily Roto. I was actually talking with Niramata this morning about it. I was talking with Bismo a little bit about it today. Yeah, I mean, I got crushed in Showdown this year, but that's to be expected. Like, if I don't hit a top 2 finish over the course of the season, I'm going to lose money with my strategy. Didn't have any variance that way. And I will say, Showdown definitely sharper than it has been in years past, especially for like the large field contest, I would say. But Moose, if we look at smaller contests, we still see people making tons of mistakes. We see sharps, quote unquote sharps, making really bad lineups in Showdown. So while it's definitely sharper, there are definitely spots. And I think my unique approach is still really good. And again, this is part of the investigation that I have to do. And I still think smaller contests in Showdown are really profitable. But just for the regular person playing single entry GPPs or larger field contests, it's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people play straight cash lineups, and in large contests, I've seen people play backup quarterbacks in 100-player leagues on Showdown. And I'm like, why?
I know.
Like, it actually baffles me on that. So I got the chart here. I think I got the chart. Let's see here. So to take it out and pull the chart up. Oh, that's way bigger than it should be. Thank you, Bismo, for making it super big. All right, let's see.
With the HD graphics.
It's like the 8K Fox cam.
Yeah, the on-field camera after someone scores a touchdown in the Fox game. This shit is crystal clear, by the way.
So I don't know who said it. It's like, it looks like it's 3D, even though it is actually 3D. But like the way, but I was like, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like you're on the field when that shit happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so here's your chart. Even though you had a profitable week, your ROI still dipped down a little bit.
That goes to show how good of a year it's been, right? When you have a profitable week and your ROI dips. So I'll take it. We're over 150% ROI. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do 150% ROI every year, then that's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if we showed my Showdown chart, it would just be straight down.
Yeah.
So again, this is just one piece of the allocation, not to paint a picture that's not there. It's just, this is what this is about. So.
Yeah. And I do want to point, Brian, do you have the tweet handy? Maybe I can pull it up. There was the one professional guy who literally had like the worst downswing I've ever seen, and now he's broken even.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Because he tweeted about this, I'm sure he's cool with people talking about it since he put it out there in public. So I'm gonna send it to you, Moose, and you can bring it up.
And while you're doing that, Qualkheis, president of the league. 5 subs. Thank you. Sankey J also with the sub for 9 months. So of course, Brian, you had to get one. The Crib, Random Rules, RMJ, Money Moss. You all now have a subscription, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put the Discord instructions in there as well, where you can click on that, sync your Twitch account with your Discord account, and you get access to our Discord channel if you are a subscriber. So those new subscribers, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right, let's see here.
Thanks, guys. My shit did run out, so I'm glad I got re-upped here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and pull up this Twitter from @FrankieBorn. And tweet says, "Here's the full swing. Did my best to hashtag trust the process, but was difficult."
My chart's still in the way if you want to delete the chart.
Oh, yeah. RIP. So, yeah. So he says, "Here's the full swing. Did my best to hashtag trust the process, but was difficult at times lighting money on fire at an unstable rate every slate. Happy it's over. Now it's time to work hard and run hotter than the sun." And he tweeted this on December 22nd. And if we pull the picture up, I mean, he literally went down, like, was not profitable and ended up over minus $300,000.
Yeah.
And then I guess he hit 2 back-to-back pretty much GPPs and had a profit of $762.
That's quite a year, right? To be up $700 and at one point be down like $320,000. So a lot of things to take away from this. One, if you've played smaller contests, you've played GPPs, almost any sport, you've probably seen the name fjborn at the top of your leaderboard at some point over the course of your DFS career. If you haven't, I mean, the dude plays a ton. Top player for sure. Tons of volume. I haven't studied his process too much, but I know he hits a lot of big wins, so he probably has something right in this process.
Yeah.
A great player, I would say, without diving too deep. But for people that just see the screenshots, right, they just think, these pros win everything. We've seen a lot more of these on Twitter recently, and I love to see it because it goes to show the true variance for someone even as good as fjborn is. Like, variance is wild. So if you lose a couple slates in a row, if you had a losing season, hell, if you had a losing year, like, this shit happens, especially if you're playing purely high risk contests. And again, we don't talk about it enough, but the mental aspect, to be able to be down $300,000 and still stick to your process is a sight to behold.
And the thing that I would like to pick his brain, or even your brain, or whoever, where it's like, if you look at the chart here, it's like, all right, it's kind of going down. It's like, all right, so if after like September and I'm just losing literally every week like hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's like holy shit, man, like something has to go. And then you just keep losing, and then December at that what's the, not the peak, what's the tro, or whatever the fuck it's called, what's the
valley,
bottom?
the valley.
Yeah, at the valley,
yeah.
And you're down over 300,000. You're just like, dude, I gotta do something. Like that has to be so shaking, where it's like, I mean, you've talked about it before, where subconsciously your brain is like telling you to change something up, even though you're not trying to change something up. So it's definitely an interesting goal, fjborn. I'm glad you're back in the green. I will say that.
Yeah, definitely back. And I commented on this, and I said, this is why I don't look at Roto Tracker until I win a tournament, because I can't stand the look of seeing this deep red like this. And it becomes a feeling too. And if we have more questions about NFL, we could talk about it. Or if you guys are interested in this type of stuff, I think we can continue talking about it. But especially if you play professionally, like, it's a large source of your income, like fjborn, like it is for me. Like, because I've said it, like, this is no secret, I've said it hundreds of times, like, the way my strategy is, I have graphs that look like this, obviously not minus 300K, but like long periods of red before big spikes, just because of how high variance my approach is. And when you get to near those valleys, not only are you thinking like, holy fuck, I've lost a lot of money, not only are you thinking like, am I still good at DFS? Like, have I lost the edge? Is my process still good? You're also thinking, right, like, you start to press. It's like, I need to find different contests that have 100 to 200K payout just so I can go back to even, right? You start pressing, finding contests, trying to be more aggressive, and that just continues that long downward streak. And then even if you're on the opposite end of that spectrum, you're like, well, shit, I've already lost so much, I have to like pull back and only pick my spots, and then maybe you're missing out on opportunities. So, if any professional player or any regular player says they haven't gone through this type of mentality, one, they're lying to you, or two, they're just the best player in the world. And it's a lot mentally, in addition to just the regular DFS stuff we go through.
Yeah, I mean, I've had valleys as well. Literally every person I've ever talked to has had valleys. So, again, yeah, that's great transparency, Frankie. So I'm glad to say I would like to see more pros do that, or more people in general just to do that. Notice that Andrew Wiggins did a good pod about this. You know what he's talking about?
Yes. Yeah, so Maki Supa, Andrew Wiggins, he works for Establish the Run. Super high stakes player. Yeah, I've heard, I haven't listened to it yet, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that particular podcast. He talks about the mental aspect of it. So if that's something you're interested in, go check it out. I would love to start a podcast where I just like interview and talk to pros about the mental aspect of things, talk about the entire mental side of DFS.
Yeah.
Have a feeling, though, not many pros are going to be as forthcoming as FJborn was here when discussing their losses, especially when they have other interests at hand.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense to me. Cool. So, all right. So then let me ask you a question in with this. Granted, like 300,000 is a lot of money. But in retrospect, this could be the equivalent of this could be down $100, and that's your bankroll. So,
yeah.
And again, FJborn's a very high risk player, also a very good player. I do just want to point that out. And so, this might be a dumb question, might be a loaded question. I don't know. Can you still have these valleys playing, as we call the Occupy Way satellite strategy, 100-player leagues, grinding head-to-head, no badges?
Yeah, I was so if your chart looks like this and you're primarily playing low risk, you should probably quit DFS. That's just a fact. Like if you're playing head-to-heads, 50-50s, and your chart's downward reds like this, something's wrong with your process. If you follow the Occupy satellite strategy, especially the people now who are investing money for these basically tickets that FanDuel are giving out, your chart's going to look similar to this. And I'm pointing, you can't see on my screen, but I'm pointing at my other screen where the chart is. Like, as you invest more and more in the satellites, obviously your profit's going to go down because you're not getting physical money back for the tickets unless you get more than 150 on FanDuel. And then the satellite comes, the GPP comes, then you get all your money back, and then it spikes back up, ideally higher than what it was. So I feel like a lot of people who follow the Occupy Way do look like this. Anyone who plays high risk probably looks like this, especially if you're playing large contests. It's going to be a familiar sight. I just think it can be jarring when you see these dollar amounts, especially for people who we know are good players.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed talks about, that's my 333 Satty chart, and he says I'll be your first guest. Quit sending subliminal messages.
Oh, dude, we're gonna get Ed on there once he hits his 444. He's been racking up the ticket satellite Occupy style, so looking forward to it, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just going to go ahead and throw the logo back up here, just so we're not staring at a minus 300K chart for ever. But
some good vibes.
I do just want to say really quick about contest selection and stuff like that. Over on FanDuel, there is a bunch of overlay for a bunch of tickets. The clutch shot, the NHL breakaway. There's even some UFC satellites. I mean, there's contests last night I played where it was top 6,000 get tickets and only 8,000 entrants. Of course, I'm And as you said, that once you get over 150, they pay you in cash. So it's like literally beat 10% of the field for 4x your investment once you pass 150.
Yeah, I mean, you should be literally investing money in this if you have the disposable income, right? People put it in the stock market. People put it in, CDs or bank accounts. I don't know what people do. Regular people do, but like people do that, and you should instead be, if you have the capability and you have the time and the willingness, you should be investing your money into these FanDuel satellites when they offer these. We saw it before the MLB season started. We saw it before the NBA season started last year, before the NFL season started. When they start these new seasons, they encourage new users to play and to switch over from the current sport to the new sport to keep them hooked to continue playing all season. So they give away these tickets, giveaway in quotes, at just reduced cost and crazy overlay. And for those that want to take advantage of it, we can literally make thousands of dollars doing it, and just like single-handedly grow your bankroll through it. So if you're not doing that already, check it out. If you have questions about it, hit us up in the Discord. We can walk you through it, but it's a massive money-making opportunity.
Yeah, and especially if you are able to enter those EPE contests. I sent you one the other day, Brian, where it was like, what was it? It was a double up for a 444 ticket.
Yeah. That's how Ed's been cashing his in. Ed's been getting 444 tickets at a massive discount.
I know, it's amazing.
It's so easy, even Ed can't mess it up.
And is it like straight cash, homie, or FanDuel credit that you can't cash out?
Yeah, so it's FanDuel credit, but like, I mean, uh, if you're following this stream, you're probably going to continue playing. So it quickly converts to cash. It uses that first before the cash in your account. So yeah, plus like once you get it, you can just use those money to re-enter the satellites until the GPP starts. So it ends up turning around pretty quickly.
Yeah. Question here from Patrick says, got a few DK Millie tickets that I won last week. Should I hold on to them? Is week 17 too much of a crapshoot? They expire in 2021.
Yeah, really good question, Patrick. I would hold on to them. I know personally, I haven't done well in week 17. I would check your own results in week 17s in the past to see if you've had any success there. I think the best bet is to either save them for the wild card round, which is now a 6-game slate as opposed to the normal 4-game slate we've seen in years past, or just keep racking them up for the next, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months till we get NFL preseason, NFL regular season back next year. So I would probably wait unless your results, Patrick, just say, you crushed week 17, go ahead and use them.
Yeah. It says, wait, you mean I'm not amazing? You're amazing, Ed.
Nah, man, he's got 5 or 6 4-4-4s. The fact that he's using the strategy properly shows he's a good player and knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And Brandon Rule says, yeah, I got 3. I'm assuming he's talking about the 4-4-4s. Hope to get a few more. And Ed is up to 6, which is nuts. And he says, if I didn't fade dig in all 10 lines, I would have had more. I got what was it last night? I faded Diggs and got whatever the last place was in my contest, and I got tickets out of it. I was pretty happy.
That's pretty sick. Congrats to you guys. I faded Diggs mostly in my other contest and took home nothing to show for it.
Nice. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do you want to take a quick look at some of your lineups, see how you did, what games you stacked, stuff like that on the contest dashboard?
Yeah, before we get out of here, yeah. So let's go to it. I want to talk about the games I chose to stack this week because we see this opportunity a couple times per year, and especially later in the season with larger spreads. But generally, what do I say? Most 3 games, stack both sides of it, high totals, high projections, positive total moves. Like we're looking for just some key high-level factors here. For me this week, that really wasn't a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Kansas City and Atlanta, but because of the price of the Kansas City guys, the total dropping, the popularity, I didn't feel comfortable with it. And there was no other games I really wanted to stack both sides. Philadelphia and Dallas emerged late in the week. I really like that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, there were a bunch of teams that had good stacks, but there's no way the opponent could have, or likely could have, supported a 3-man stack. I'm talking about, Houston versus Cincinnati. Can Cincinnati do it? They did end up doing it, but very unlikely. Jacksonville against the Bears, the Giants against the Ravens. I think there's one more in there, but yeah, the things like that. So this time I focused more on the one side of game stacks, the heavy favorites, and just rotated different underdogs on the one side. And I'll do this a couple of times per year. I think I did it once or twice earlier this season, but it's a rarity and a little bit of a different approach from the fully stacking 3 games method.
Yeah, absolutely. So right here's the Fantasy Labs contest dashboard, which is a free resource you can use. Check out all the contests, which is absolutely great. We talk about it all the time. Bismo says, what % of the field had Watson, Cooks, DJ, Higgins?
Good question. I had a good amount. I might have had a large portion of the field allocation there. I think I had 3 or 5 lineups with that. So
let's see. So what was that? 4-player stack you said?
yeah,
All right, next page.
really wish you could search.
Yeah, that would be nice. Let's see. So you said you said Watson.
Deshaun, Cooks, Johnson, Higgins.
Let's look at Johnson first.
Yeah, David Johnson's probably the.
Let's see.
Yeah, right. No. Yeah, that first one, right there on the top most. The Watson, Johnson, Cooks, Higgins. You're right at the bottom of the screen now.
Okay.
0.1%.
0.1% of the field had it. 0.2 of the top 1% had it.
Pretty sick. So yeah, I mean that was a good stack. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, some interesting games this week. It was a weird way to close out the season.
Yeah, definitely. And since we're here, I do just want to see if we just filter by the event. I mean, I don't say that seems wrong, but
I feel like this dashboard isn't right yet. I feel like there's no way the highest owned stack was 0.2%.
Well, game stack.
Yeah, again, I feel like it's wrong though. I didn't feel like this wasn't I feel like these numbers aren't correct in some way, shape, or form.
Because if we look at the
So I don't
team
know.
stacks, yeah, I mean the top team stack was 6%.
And what was that? Montgomery, Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make much. Like, well, see, like Hurts and Goddard was 2.5%, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean opposing players? That's a game stack. That's what they define here.
Yeah, a player and someone else from the other team.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean that still seems wrong, but so 2% was the highest.
Yeah.
Eckler and Gordon.
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe these numbers are right, but regardless, like if you look at the factors, just like relatively speaking, Cincinnati and Houston was not a popular game to stack.
Yeah, exactly. Ed says Heineke read F1 for all the money this week. I'm with you, buddy.
I know, man. I don't think F1's gonna play. He's still in a walking boot. Sounds like he has a high ankle sprain. So we're gonna be playing. Wait, who's Reed? Ed talking about Jordan Reed. Ed, we got Logan Thomas and Cam Sims, buddy. It's rough sledding in Washington.
Oh, that's that different game stack. He's talking about just like from actual 2 different games.
Yeah, the historical Redskins stack.
Yes. 656 Griffin says, "What do you think about the Seahawks?"
I wish they would let Russ throw more. I'm kind of
Yeah.
surprised that Tyler Lockett isn't producing as much as he is. Yeah, I don't know. They've completely fallen off the earth here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he says he meant Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cool. Cool. So really quick, let's just go back to if you go to your exposures tab, and your leverage again: Zach Ertz, Michael Gallup, Darius Slayton, Andy Dalton. So you stacked that Cowboys game, and which was surprising. It's like they went off, but didn't have much to show for it.
I know. Again, just didn't have the right combos around them. Yeah, I had plenty of Dalton, Gallup, CD Lamb, or even Amari Cooper stacks. Couldn't get there. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert obviously sucked, but yeah, it was kind of tough. Just yeah, again, GPPs are hard.
Yeah. 656 says, and they think DK is great. To me, he's mediocre. I think DK Metcalf's pretty good.
Yeah, DK Metcalf's pretty good, I would say.
Don't tell Wally that, or else he'll show the picture.
Yeah.
Let's take a look again. Just duplicate lineups that we like to look at. One guy ran his lineup 150 times. That's always fun.
Sick.
But in terms of number of users, this lineup was ran 83 users. Mahomes, Sanders, Kareem, Hunt, Deontay, Crowder, Mark. What a weird lineup.
I swear to God, dude. Like these
naked quarterback stack.
It's got to be one particular optimizer that does this, right? Because almost every single time it has 2 or 3 players from the same team not stacked with the quarterback, and it almost always includes 2 tight ends in like the most duplicated lineup. So I don't know if it's got to be one very specific optimizer, because I feel like most optimizers aren't going to give you this type of lineup.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That would be interesting to see why they did that. I'm not sure. And if we hop over to the reports tab, while it's loading up here, it says Ertz killed me 4 more points, and I had a $1,500 Saturday ticket for $5. That sucks.
Damn. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man, because Goddard went out early in the second half with a calf injury, and Ertz was playing like every snap. They just literally, the Eagles could not do anything on offense.
Yep. Again, salary distribution, like every single person uses 500 or less. And then you can't see. I'm gonna see if I can scoot this over some.
I will say, if you look on the right side, the right graph, the flex usage, we see that finally 2 tight end lineups were crushed this week, as they rightfully should be.
Yeah. So how much? 23.5% of all lineups had a double tight end, compared to 17.9% of top 1% of lineups.
23% had 2 tight ends.
23.5. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's crazy. That's in the millionaire.
Yeah.
I guess people wanted to jam in Kelsey and just figure it out, and I guess
probably Hooper as well.
Yeah. Damn.
It was funny because I actually had a couple lineups where I went with it. Well, my first take was with that, and I was like, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, definitely can't.
I just want to see how this compares to the other usage. So if we go to the slant, let's see how this looks.
23% is a ridiculous number to me.
18% at the slant versus 9.7 top 1%. If we look in the 3-3-3, 21.7% versus not.
What are people doing? What are they doing?
Yeah, I'm not.
So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, we talk about the edge being there, and 20% of lineups in the 3-3-3 are playing a tight end at flex when there's literally no reason to. Like, there's never a reason on a full slate to play a tight end at flex, right? There's just no reason, absolutely no reason to do that. And we continue to see this. So, it just continues. Like, NFL Classic remains like the easiest, quote unquote, to build without knowing much about the players, right? You 3-1 stack, high total or high projected games. You don't use a tight end in the flex. You play high weighted opportunity running backs, and you play, if you're an occupied member, you play the top model plays at receiver, tight end, and defense. And over the course of the season, you're going to print money.
Yeah.
It's kind of mind blowing to me that in 2020, people are still playing tight end at flex this much. And it goes to show that the top 1% it's not some edge, that's some huge edge, right? Like, it's a negative EV move.
Yeah, as Bismarck points out, are these dashboard numbers actually right? LOL, they seem hella funky.
They might be. They could be wrong. They very much could be wrong. I don't know, but yeah, Bismarck, do some investigating here.
Yeah, and if we take a look last at the $3,000 entry, 22% of lineups had a double tight end versus 0% top 1%.
Good. That's what you get. You pay $3,000 for an entry. You put a tight end. 0% deserve to cash. That's mind blowing.
I actually need to see how. I don't even know if there's a way to see it.
Like, who did this?
Yeah. Let's see.
Watch it be like FJ Born. It's like, oh, that's why he was down 300K.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see really quick, just for a couple things. While I'm doing this, Brian, is there anyone in the chat?
Someone said, oh, Random Rule says, what were Shepard and Slayton's ownerships? They were both sub 5%. I think Shepard and mine was like 2% when I was looking. I think Slayton was right around there as well. And then KY says, can you see the most duped lineup that cashed? I don't know if we have that capability, Moose, do we, in this dashboard?
I don't think in this one, no. Let's see here. So the top lineup with a double tight end looks like it was Utica, who played Akins and Kelsey and got 9th.
And he's a great player, so shout out to him. I mean, that's, yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, we talk about cheap stack pieces, and that's what he gets with Akins. I don't know, man. That's wild to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and interesting.
Yeah, and Notem says that, there's probably the Kelsey effect, right? Yeah, sure, yeah. I agree with that. But it's not like Kelsey is like underpriced at like 6K or something. The dude's 8,500. Yeah, I mean, it's not any more reason to double stack tight ends just because Kelsey's a good player. He's priced appropriately, if not higher than he should be. So, yeah, it's insanity to me.
Yeah, and recency bias is huge. Yeah, I would love to see how this is up with when Kelsey is not on the slate. I mean, he's still there's still like what 10 to 15% double tight end.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, all right, Ken says, what if hypothetically Kelsey was 6K? I'm trying to think here. I mean, it's still such a massive edge at tight end just to play him there and not worry about playing some other shitty tight end, right? Like, look at the season-long finishes for tight ends. Like, Hawkinson finished 3rd, and were we ever thrilled to start Hawkinson? I don't think so. No. Gesicki finished 6th, and he had like 2 good games. Like, Ebron was 10th overall at tight end. I don't know if he ever scored a touchdown. Like, tight end was such trash this year. Like, there's no reason to jam in 2. Just take the advantage with Kelsey, or punt the position, or play somebody with a game stack, and don't worry about playing another one. Yeah, it's weird to me.
Yeah. It is interesting. As Bisma points out, yeah, it's like it seems like a lot of people are just doing projections, and as long as their projections back it, they're just going with it.
I mean, I think we see a lot of sharp players do this anyways. We see it especially in Showdown.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know the processes of all these top players. We just see the end results.
Yeah.
So the reasoning behind it, we don't know, and so we can't really comment on it. But we do see from the outside perspective some really weird constructions. A lot of it appears to be projection based as opposed to lineup construction based. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like if I look at Drew B's lineups, right? We premium podcast. We talk about Drew, Colin Drew's lineups, and not for Showdown. He's won a couple main slates this year pretty nicely, and his you can look at and say, wow, this is all correlation heavy. This makes sense. But then you see some other ones, like other pros, and like this is literally the only way this makes sense is because it's projection focused and not how to build NFL lineups focused.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird.
Now, the last thing I want to say before we get up out of here, we're talking about correlation and other things like that. And again, not trying to down Fantasy Labs or anything like that. Not trying to cause any controversy or anything like that. But they do have these lineup trends that they give a check or an X based off if it fits. How well do you think that these lineup, like generally speaking, you don't have to. I don't think you should fit all of them on every single lineup, but it's almost kind of like what we talk about: team stack, game stack, quarterback with pass catcher, quarterback stack, bring back. Low owned player, no players versus DST. I mean, like that right there is a pretty solid lineup trend. I like to play there.
Yeah, this is honestly this is good. If you just put in 3x1 stack and you put in high volume running backs, you're pretty good to go here. Honestly, I don't even think you need the low owned player aspect anymore. We've looked at some of my winning lineups that don't even have like that low owned of a player. So, yeah, I mean that's solid. That's really solid. I need to see what they say for NBA lineups. Yeah. It's just like play the best plays check mark.
Yeah. Notum says December 6th with a no Kelsey. So all right, I don't know if you have time, Brian, but let's hop over there.
Yeah, it's got time. It's a slow NFL week for us, so we got plenty of time.
All right, so let's see. So we go here and we go back to the reports tab. There's a luxury box. Let's go to the millionaire. Yeah, Random Rule says, how do you figure a 2 tight end lineup has the upside for first place? It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you're really just literally you would have to do it if you play a stud tight end with like a punt and a 2,500 player or whatever he is, just literally helps you fit in other players. That would be the only way it makes sense, and even then, I just don't think it's worth the sacrifice.
All right, let's see. So let's go to the main slate. All right, first of all, that's on the Monday slate. There was actually like 4% tight end, double tight end. Just interested. Let's see. All right, so we're on the 12-game main slate for the football thing there. Let's see.
It looked like nobody did it.
Well, I accidentally had it on the Monday slate.
Oh, okay. So let's see here.
Yeah, this was the funny one where 10% used a tight end and was it like 18.5 used double tight end on top 1%.
So this is a non-Kelsey slate. People still did it 10% of the time, which is stupid. But they were twice as rewarded for it in this stupidity. So, yeah, but over the course of time, we see that double tight ends are not the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Brian, is there any last lingering thoughts or anything else you want to say before I take us out of here?
No, we'll have one final recap next week, week 17. Just lock in minus 60% ROI for me. I'm going to try to play light, but we'll lock it in. We'll talk about some week 17 trends. We'll talk about just a recap in general of the season. Pretty successful overall, and I think we've talked about a lot of high-level strategies here. And if you're watching this replay, reminder that all of these videos are on YouTube in our $1 Million Mission playlist. So as the offseason turns the corner here, plenty of time to review, take notes, find the common themes among all the videos, and implement them into your strategies for 2021. I know for me, at least the first couple weeks of the season, I always have to think back, like, shit, how do I use these lineup builder settings properly? How do I get back in the groove of building? And I'm sure I'll go back and look at these and take notes in that way. That learning curve is a little bit shorter when the season rolls back around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ed says, Garrett and Boyle are goats. They are amazing. If you're not playing or at least looking at the NBA stuff, you definitely should. But yeah, so until Saturday, where we'll break down the main slate for NFL Sunday. I'm Moose. You are Brian. We're from OccupyFantasy.com. Have a good one.